Buenos dias, all. RGT85 here. Hope everyone is having a great day. We got a couple video game news stories that I want to cover today, though, on the channel. Some interesting stuff. If this is your first time here and you enjoy video game content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it and talk about what's going on in the world of video games. And we have yet another video game delay. This really shouldn't come as a surprise. Delays are more common than they have been in the past before, but this is a game that was actually delayed once and now has been delayed again. This is a big PlayStation 5 title. Of course, it was first revealed as Project Agatha, and now we know it as Forspoken. We've seen a lot from this game, a lot of different trailers, and looks like the game isn't quite ready yet. So yesterday, this information went out, an update on Forspoken. As a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we made the strategic decision to move the launch date of Forspoken to January 24th, 2023. All game elements are now complete and the development is in the final polishing phase. We would like to thank you for your continued support and patience on this journey. Your excitement for the game inspires us every day, and we cannot wait to share more about Forspoken with you later this summer and, you know, the basic companies involved in the game. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I think on the surface level, maybe they were a little bit afraid of God of War Ragnarok and releasing around then, which, I mean, okay, but still, to me, it's kind of like your game should be able to stand on its own. Like, yeah, God of War Ragnarok is going to be very successful, but let's be real, the holiday lineup isn't exactly, you know, filled with titles that everyone's rushing out to buy. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty about this holiday 2022 season, especially when you look at, you know, Sony and even Nintendo's standpoint with this, because they haven't really talked about much stuff beyond what we already know. So that could be a reason. And then you always have the, well, you know, maybe they're just wanting to finish things up. They're wanting to polish things up. Shigeru Miyamoto said a delayed game is great forever, but a rushed game is bad and will kill your family or something. Who knows? That quote is so stupid to me because it's not true. There have been tons of games that have been delayed over and over again. Maybe 20, 30 years ago, that was a good mantra. But with the things like online updates and all of that sort of stuff, that doesn't really play that big of a role in it anymore. You know, you can fix things on the fly with a lot of these games, and you see that happening. More likely than not, there's development issues with the game. So is this a development issue thing? Is this just scared of God of War Ragnarok? It's probably somewhere in the middle, honestly, because your game should be able to stand on your own 2 feet. This game has already been delayed once, so now another delay, it's kind of like, well, you know, that's a little bit concerning about the quality of the game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Forspoken, now you can play it in January of 2023. They're going to show us some more from the game, and it's kind of like, well, we've seen quite a bit. You know, we've seen quite a bit. It's going to be nice to play this game this year, but hey, I guess we won't be playing it. Next up in the ongoing saga of Summer Games announcement shows, Summer Games Fest, of course, has come along and kind of taken away some of E3's vibe, even though I hate the structure of Summer Games Fest because it's all over the damn place. E3, now they're coming back next year. They're going to be doing a live show. It's going to be a big hole to do. They got a new person, a new team behind it to make it a better showcase and a better thing overall. The team's worked on stuff like Star Wars and stuff. So now, really the story is that E3 is definitely coming back in 2023 with an in-person event. But now, I have to sit here and question, do we need 2 video game shows in 2023 during the summer, with Summer Games Fest also having an in-person show and E3 now having an in-person show? It's like, let's be real, we didn't really need Summer Games Fest this year. Like, nothing really happened that couldn't have been done by the companies themselves. There wasn't any real pomp or circumstance. It wasn't like this whole big thing. And it's like, there's not enough content to go around for 2 different shows, for 2 different showcases of video games. Like, one of them is going to suffer, one of them is going to be worse than the other, and really both of them have the potential to be just not good because of how video games have just sort of slowed down. You can say, well, RGT, you know, that's because of the pandemic, buddy. All right, have some sympathy, asshole. And on to that I say, well, this was the year that everything was supposed to get back into motion. You know, places have been open for a very long time now. There hasn't been real COVID restrictions for a vast majority of places to get back into the workforce. Yet 2022 has really been, I mean, just overall, in my opinion, it's just been a slow year for video games. Like, I think COVID years had more announcements than what we've gotten so far in 2022. This was supposed to be the big rebound year, and honestly, it's been pretty disappointing for a lot of people. So do we need 2 summer presentations? Do we need 1 summer presentation? If I had to choose one, I would choose E3, strictly because the structuring is much better. Having a date and a time for each individual company with a lot of lead up to it, for me personally, and that's the only person I can talk about, it's great because it gives me, you know, sort of an outline of what I'm going to have to cover and when I'm going to have to cover it. It makes things a lot easier than Summer Games Fest, and it's like everything is tied to it, and then there's like one main show as well, and it's kind of like, okay, you know, whatever. But I do hope that E3, you know, does manage to sort of take the crown back just because it's easier. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, we probably don't need one of these shows, and we definitely don't need two of these shows. But hey, I guess the more the merrier. There'll be some good competition, and competition does usually create, you know, a better product. But if there's nothing to base the competition on because there's not a lot of stuff happening, it's going to make for a very interesting situation. And finally, PC gaming is something that we don't really talk much about on this channel because I'm not interested in it. And that's just me personally. I've never been a PC gamer. I probably never will be a PC gamer. You know, I can understand why people like it. You can obviously do a lot of things with the PC. There are definite benefits to PC gaming as well. But just for me, I like consoles. And, you know, I dabbled in some PC gaming, usually when a company pays me to do such and they want me to check out a game like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I played that on my PC and I actually really liked it. Like, it was super fun and it was a really good experience on my computer, which I haven't really had that sort of experience before. But there's one company that doesn't really dabble in PC stuff. They're kind of like me when it comes to companies. Sony's obviously getting involved in PC stuff. Microsoft, they're pretty much a PC company, but Nintendo, they don't really dip their toes in the water. They don't really sample what's going on out there. But you got to remember, things end up changing. Nobody thought that Nintendo was going to have mobile games. Nintendo going mobile? No, that's ridiculous. They have their console, their bread and butter. Yet, we've gotten games like Mario Kart Tour, the Fire Emblem game, Dragalia Lost, and whatever else they've done with Super Mario Run. You remember that? That was a mobile game too. So they're obviously more open-minded to checking out the mobile market. But are they finally dipping their toes into the PC market? Because there's some interesting stuff that I definitely want to talk about. So this is coming to us from Mario Kart Tour News' Twitter account, which, I mean, Christ, that's a very specific account. You can only talk about Mario Kart, but it can only be Mario Kart Tour. Like, wow, that's really pigeonholing yourself. Following up with a data mine, they've added mouse as a new input mode. Please note that this is speculation and may never be available to the public. Maybe it's just for developers to use. So basically, they put a mouse into Mario Kart Tour with a recent update, so that was kind of weird. And then there was a follow-up update to this as well, saying that there appears to be some sort of evidence that the game is being prepared to be playable on Windows 11. Here are just a couple of new stuff added to the code to support this. Don't take this too much certainty, though. I should have read it right. It says don't take this with too much certainty, though. But yeah, so basically, people are thinking, based on this information and on this data mine, that Mario Kart Tour will be potentially coming to PC. And to that, I say, good. Like, what's the problem with that? Look, I understand. I'm not a big PC gamer, like I just prefaced a few minutes ago. But the fact of the matter is, you know, when you make a game designed strictly for mobile devices, if you want to bring it over to the PC, like, who cares? It's not like this was a console experience in the first place. If you want to talk about console games, I'm not against the whole notion of bringing console games to the PC, no matter what company you are. I'm just not a huge fan of the day and date stuff. You know, what Microsoft does, they obviously don't care about system sales all that much. They're more about software and just getting people on Game Pass and stuff like that. So it makes sense for them. But when you look at a company like Sony and, of course, Nintendo, they sort of are very, you know, contingent on their hardware sales. So it makes sense for them to sort of stagger stuff. But when a game comes out like Spider-Man's coming out on PC finally, you know, many years after it released on the PlayStation 4 and then was redone on the PlayStation 5. So to me, it's like, it's not a big deal. You're tapping into another potential market with this. And of course, PC gamers can do things like crazy mods and stuff like it, really enhance the game. And even if we are talking about the Nintendo Switch, this is going to be a controversial statement, but the PC would help Switch games. I am sure you have, at the very minimum, you have at least seen a video of somebody playing a Nintendo Switch game on their PC. Now, you could talk about the piracy and their pirates and stuff, whatever. You know, that's a conversation for another day, but I'm sure you've at least seen people do that on a YouTube video. And the results, I mean, speak for themselves. The games run better on PC than they do on the native hardware. That's just the fact of the matter. You can add in things like better textures and, you know, have more anti-aliasing and upscaling of textures as well in a lot of these games. So Nintendo is the one company that it makes sense for them to dabble in PC gaming, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't think this actually means anything, because all it's going to do is, maybe with their mobile games, they will bring them to PC. I could understand that. I could sort of see that, because, you know, the PC mobile market, you know, they kind of go hand in hand. But as far as their mainline entries in games go, all that would do is expose Nintendo's hardware, and they don't want that, because Nintendo wants you to buy their hardware. They want you to buy their software, whereas a company like Microsoft has a million different ventures, you know, as far as generating revenue. This is it for Nintendo. This is their big money maker. Could they do a PC exclusive game? No, I don't think so. So a lot of these people are running with this as Nintendo is finally getting into the PC market. I think at the maximum, at the absolute maximum, you might see Mario Kart Tour come to PC in some sort of way, shape, or form, the mobile game. I don't think you're going to see Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on there, because once again, that's a cash cow for Nintendo. And I don't see them taking their mainline games and putting them on there, even something sort of staggered like what Sony does with their mainline games, because it just doesn't make sense for them. You know, you can compare a PlayStation 5 to a PC and get very similar results, but when you start talking about a Nintendo Switch to a PC, it's like the PC can do a lot more. It would just sort of expose the Switch system, and especially with things like Steam Deck and hacking it, like, that's a whole conversation for another day. So is Nintendo bringing stuff to PC? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think some people are looking way too much into this. This could just be something for developers to use, and, you know, you have to develop your game on PC and have something like a mouse in order to do stuff like that. So usually the simplest explanation is the correct explanation, but I do think it's something worth talking about, because it would be very interesting to see both the reaction and the success rate for Nintendo if they were to sort of dabble in PC gaming. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. Are you surprised that Forspoken got delayed? Is this a sign of game quality, or do we just go with that Shigeru quote and, you know, Duke Nukem Forever? That game came out great. Is there enough gaming stuff for both E3 and Summer Games Fest? I say no. And Nintendo going to PC. Will this happen? Is this just, you know, for developers? Do you think this would be a smart decision? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.